Good evening. I'd like to welcome you all to visit Virginia's Blue Ridge 32nd Annual Meeting. The theme for tonight is you gotta love where you live. By the end of this evening, you all will better understand how this message translates into the key of success of the travel and tourism industry in Virginia's Blue Ridge. And at this time, I'm gonna ask Mayor Sherman Lee, Mayor of City of Roanoke, if he would join me at the podium to welcome everybody and provide the invocation. We will eat our dinner and then I'll recognize guests and have the program after dinner.
Thank you, Lee. Let me say good evening, everybody. Good evening. All right, it's a pleasure and an honor to have you here in the city of Roanoke, and especially at this beautiful hotel and on such a special occasion. And we're delighted to be here tonight to recognize the work and the accomplishments of Virginia Blue Ridge. And let's give Virginia Blue Ridge a hand, all of you. And I want to thank Lee Wilhelm and all the staff and boards and everybody, and you'll get to meet them tonight. So it's a great night for us to all come together, and let's have some fun after we pray. Let's pray. Eternal God, our Father, we come to you tonight. First and foremost, to thank you for this day, because we recognize that all of our blessings come from thee. Lord, we ask you to continue to bless this valley, this city, and all of us in the surrounding area, Lord. We need you in times such as these. And we ask you to continue to guide the Virginia Blue Ridge as they go forth. Lord, we ask you to strengthen and encourage us as we do the work of this valley. And Lord, we ask you to bless this food that we're about to receive tonight, that it will strengthen and nourish our bodies. We give you praise, we give you honor, because you're worthy of all of the praise. It is in the name of your Son that we pray. Amen.
Thank you, Mayor Lee. Y'all please enjoy your dinner, and we'll be back in just a little while to start the presentation. Thank you. Welcome once again to visit Virginia's Blue Ridge 32nd Annual Meeting. If you haven't quite finished your dinner or dessert, please continue to do so. I have to commend Landon on his pick of the beef. That was mighty good tonight and stuff. It's a great meal. We themed this meeting Love Where You Live, which plays directly into the keynote presentation by Chris Morrill later this evening. And I've already heard it, and it's very, very interesting, so y'all are in for a treat. All of us are feeling a sense of pride about the positive changes that are happening in our region. We can thank our government leaders like Chris and many others here tonight for the momentum shift. Regionalism has really been the key to our success. I'd like to recognize some of the officials that are with us tonight, and if you would stand when I call your name, I'd appreciate it. And from City of Roanoke, we have Mayor Sherman Lee, Vice Mayor Anita Price, Council Member Ray Ferris, Council Member David Trinkle, and Council Member Bill Bestfitch. From Roanoke County, we had a couple people have to drop at the very last minute, but we have Assistant County Administrator Dan O'Donnell with us tonight. The City of Salem, I understand Randy had to stay home with a dog that's very ill, and I hate to hear that, but we are pleased to have Council Member Jane Johnson with us and City Manager Kevin Bogus. From Botetourt County, we have the Vice Chairman of the Board of Supervisors, Todd Dodson, and Supervisor Billy Martin, and County Administrator Gary LaRue. From Franklin County, we have Bob Kamisha, a supervisor, Tim Tatum, a supervisor, and Brent Robertson, our county administrator there. On our state level, we have with us tonight Delegate Chris Head, Delegate Greg Habib, Franklin representing Delegate Sam Rasool. We have Jennifer Fenderson, Staff Assistant to Congressman Morgan Griffith. And we have, she here tonight? All right. And Pete Larkin, who is Chief Congressman Bob Goodlatte, is with us tonight. And from Virginia Tourism Corporation, Randy, who does a lot of work in our area as a development specialist, is with us. I'd now like to recognize and thank our governmental stakeholders, the City of Roanoke and cities of Salem and the counties of Botetourt, Franklin, and Roanoke. With their support, we represent over 1,300 partners in the tourism industry. Thank you to all of our governmental partners. Our annual meeting would not be possible without the support of our sponsors. You'll see them listed on the two screens up here, and I would like to thank all of them. Access Advertising, Asian American Business Owners Association, Baymont Inn and Suites together with Ramada Inn River's Edge, Botetourt County, the Business Council, Korean Clinic, ESI Electronic Systems, Franklin County, Hometown Bank, the Hotel Roanoke and Conference Center, the Jefferson College of Health Sciences, Lanford Brothers, Roanoke County, City of Roanoke, the Roanoke Times, Rockydale Quarries Corporation, City of Salem, Virginia Tech, WDBJ7, and WSLS10. Thank you to all of our sponsors. At this time, I'd like to ask all of the members of the Visit Virginia's Blue Ridge Board of Directors who have dedicated their time and support towards the success of this region's travel and tourism industry to please stand and be recognized. All of the board members that are here. And I'd like to take a minute to recognize a couple outgoing board members who have served 2 terms with us, Jeremy Carroll, Chris Morrill, Charles Price, and Doug Robinson. And I know I've seen Jeremy and Chris and Charles. I'm not sure if Doug's here, but if y'all would come up, we have a little token of our appreciation for you. Here's to Chris. Go. Got Jeremy and Charles. Thank you, Charles.
I feel like I'm graduating.
Well, you are graduating. Jeremy, thank you for all your help.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. I'd now like to ask the Visit Virginia's Blue Ridge staff to please stand up. They're the ones behind all of this effort. Put this on tonight, and I promise you, I'm in that office a lot during the week, more than probably I should be, but they are really one of the hardest working crews I've ever seen. Would all of y'all please stand up and be recognized, all the staff. At your place, you have our 2016 progress report, and I hope you all will take it with you and take a look at the highlights of a lot of different accomplishments with you, our partners, that have gone on in this past year. It's been a great year, and I'll hit just a couple quick things. 2016 was the 7th year of consecutive record growth. Virginia's Blue Ridge region reached $800 million in direct travel expenditures. That's up in 5 years from $650 million. Nearly 7,800 people are employed in the tourism industry. The lodging industry sold 1.2 million room nights, equating to 101 million in revenues. Now here's a neat stat that Landon has been talking to me about all the time. He wanted to do something really fancy. So we made a check out here to a resident of Virginia's Blue Ridge. Tourism spend enough money in our region for us to present that check for $2,593 to every citizen in Virginia's Blue Ridge, to put that in perspective. Our keynote speaker is very familiar with these accomplishments as one of Roanoke's biggest cheerleaders. It's my privilege to introduce tonight's keynote speaker, former city manager Chris Morrill. Chris is now the executive director and CEO of the Government Finance Officers Association of the U.S. and Canada, based in Chicago, Illinois. The association has more than 10,000 members. He just told me he has a meeting here, I think, next week that 10,000 people will be at. So we've got a lot of things to deal with. He served as our city manager from 2010 to 2017. Previously, Chris has served as the assistant city manager and budget director in the city of Savannah, Georgia. And y'all see a little bit about that coming up here. Chris received his Bachelor of Arts in Political Science from the College of the Holy Cross in Worcester, Massachusetts, and a Master of Public Administration from the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. We don't hold that against you here at Virginia, but he and his wife Kim and two sons enjoy the outdoors, hiking, and traveling. Please help me welcome back to Roanoke Chris Morrill and invite him to the stage.
Well, it's great to be here with you tonight. I spent last week in Chicago beginning my new job, and the last 3 days in D.C. on Capitol Hill. I took the train to Roanoke last night. I can't tell you how good it is to be here. And it's funny that this is one of my last things I'm doing here in Roanoke, although I'll be around a lot, because my first thing that I did officially as city manager was to attend Landon Howard's welcoming reception back in 2010, so it seems appropriate that I'm back here tonight. What I'm going to do is talk about our theme, You Gotta Love Where You Live. I'm going to talk a little bit about Savannah because I think that it is relevant to some of the things that we're experiencing here in Roanoke. I'm going to talk about my first introduction to Roanoke, and then about an approach to economic development that I've been taking, which I think is extremely relevant to Virginia's Blue Ridge and the work that they're doing, and hopefully that we'll continue to support. Okay, so in 1988, my wife, Kim, and I, she doesn't know about this, moved to Savannah, Georgia. I was a management analyst there. This was the city's 250th birthday party. I've moved past the mustache years, fortunately. So moved to Savannah, Georgia, and it had a kind of a nascent tourism industry, primarily based on historical tourism. And so you've probably heard of the Oglethorpe Plan, Savannah with the first planned city in America. And there's a joke Savannahans had that when Oglethorpe would go back and forth to England, and the last time he left, he actually died on the journey, he yelled from the ship on the way out of the harbor, "Don't change anything till I get back." And so if you think change is hard in Roanoke, you should have tried it in Savannah. But historical tourism, then also what was Savannah known for back then, so this is 88, was St. Patrick's Day. And so they would have hundreds of thousands of people come in to the second largest St. Patrick's Day in America. Green beer, green grits, green everything. And it was a good introduction to Savannah for those people who remembered it after attending St. Patrick's Day. And then also, the Savannah College of Art and Design had just started, had a couple buildings. Today, it's 80 buildings, 10,000 students, the largest art college in the nation, with campuses in France and China. And it gives the community a real sense of vibrancy that you otherwise might not get. Also, as we were there, Paula Dean came to prominence. She started as, when I was there, she was the bag lady. Her sons would deliver bag lunches to offices. And then she got a small business loan from the city of Savannah and opened up a small restaurant across from the mall. She was then discovered, and now she's a whole industry herself in Savannah, kind of like our Black Dog Salvage guys. And then the movie industry took off. Gloria was one of the first ones that they filmed there, and actually my wife Kim played an extra in it. She, if you know, she's from North Carolina. You can definitely tell she's Southern. She actually played a Boston debutante in a party in the movie. And then Forrest Gump, which actually not only was filmed in Savannah, but the opening scene was in Savannah with the box of chocolates. And that helped the tourism industry also. People still go to see the Forrest Gump bench. And then Midnight in the Garden of Good and Evil really launched the community. How many people have read that book here? It is one of the best books for a sense of place that it captures there, and the quirkiness. I think it still has the record for the most number of weeks on the New York Times bestseller list. Also made into a movie, not a very good movie. It's pretty, but not a very good movie, so I'd recommend the book. But what really put Roanoke, I'm sorry, gosh, I'm stuck in Roanoke, that's a good thing. But what really put Savannah on the movie map was The Return of Swamp Thing, filmed in the 1990s, and it has one of the most memorable movie lines ever delivered by Heather Locklear, "Why can't men be more like plants?" And I know you probably agree with me that she was robbed that she didn't get the Academy Award that year for Best Actor. But seriously, Savannah, beautiful place, and I saw it grow and the tourism industry grow while I was there, and it was an important part of their growth. I remember one chamber retreat, I asked how many people there originally came to Savannah as a visitor. 50% of the people in the room raised their hands. So it's not just about people who come here and spend money. It introduces the community, it welcomes them, and they may bring their businesses or their family or friends there. So it really is critical. But I have to tell you, with all of the good stuff going on there, people in Savannah wished that they were Charleston. Sound familiar? I think we're actually beyond Savannah in terms of that. We know who we are. So back to Savannah. This is actually City Hall, and that's my office right there. You see with the lights on? That seriously was my office. I must have been working late that night. But I'm sitting in my office in Savannah, and I get a call from a recruiter who says, we'd love for you to put your name in for city manager of Roanoke. And I said two things. First, I said, I really am not looking to leave Savannah. And secondly, where is Roanoke? And he went through all the. He had spent some time here, and he went through all the good things about Roanoke. And I thought, I trusted this guy, and I thought, well, you know what? I will check this out. I will take this seriously. And so if you get on back then, this was in 2009. You get on Wikipedia. When you Google Roanoke, Wikipedia comes up first. You get the history of the city, and so what comes up is this. The goddess of justice squatting in a fetid river with a freight train and factories behind her. This isn't really something that is going to draw you. Like, gosh, I can't wait to live there. But the good thing is that my wife is a research librarian, and so she got online and she got on city data and started chatting with people. And coincidentally, her sister lives in Hillsville. And when we called her about it, she said, "Oh, well, yeah, I love Roanoke." And we said, well, why? And she said, "Well, it's really cute." And I thought, well, I can say I've always wanted to work for a cute city. So I went ahead and as we looked at it, we hit the Roanoke Outside page. We saw it really was a great community. And so I applied for the position. And I came up here, I remember it was a cold, kind of dark November day that I flew into the airport. I've never been here before. I come out of the airport, and it's just kind of dark and cloudy. You can't see the mountains. You can't see all the beauty around. I get my rental car. The city council put me up in a hotel on Franklin Road, and I get the directions to it. And I'm driving down 581, dark, gloomy, driving by the chain link fences along 581, and I get to the East End shops. and I think, oh my God, this is Gotham. And I thought, and I'm not Batman. So the good thing is, the next morning I woke up and it was one of those beautiful, the sun was out, fortuitously, the sun was out, and I had a few hours before my interview, so I went downtown, I went to Grandin Village, I actually walked on the Greenway, I talked to people, and I realized this is a wonderful place. And especially after meeting with the council members, who were so enthusiastic about what they could be doing. And so I went ahead, I accepted the position, and when it was announced in December, it was really nice. The next day, the Savannah newspaper did this really nice article about, thank you, Chris Morrill, for all the work that you did here, and talked about some of the big projects and how you're welcome back anytime. The Roanoke Times, and it was a different Roanoke Times then, the Roanoke Times did an editorial which was pretty much like, you don't know what you're getting into. And you had better not screw up, because we're keeping our eye on you. And then they put in this, this was the op-ed, the editorial cartoon. If you can't read it, the left side is Midnight in the Garden, the right side is, or your right side is Midnight in the Garden of Indecision and Bickering. And so I thought, did I make the right decision here? But the good thing is that, so I got here, and I have to say, since this time, the Roanoke Times and other media outlets have been a huge part of our community building efforts here. And I've just been so impressed with their work, their reporting. And Dwayne Yancey, I think, has done some brilliant editorials to get people really thinking about economic development. So kudos to you all. We've gone beyond indecision and bickering. That's a good thing. And also during that time, so I arrived in 2010 to begin my job, a new study had come out from the Knight Foundation. So Knight Ritter owns newspapers around the country. And they partnered with Gallup and did a 2-year study, and they interviewed 30,000 people, and they wanted to answer the question, what drives local economic development? What drives local GDP? And so after this research, what they found is, it wasn't tax rates, it wasn't incentives. The key, the major driver of local economic development is this. It's the percentage of people with a strong emotional connection to their town had the highest local GDP growth. So it's not something external. It's what I like to put it more simply is, the more people love where they live, the more, I use community vitality because economic development sounds like buildings, and we know it's so much more than that. So the more people love where they live, the more your community is going to grow. So if you want to have economic development, what do? You get people to love where they live. And then they drilled down deeper and said, well, what makes people attach to their communities and love them? And I'm going to go through the top 4 quickly, and then I put in my own number 5, and I'll tell you about that. So number 1 is social offerings. The more opportunities people have to come together, because if you think about it, a community is really relations between people. So when you can have a market square where we can have movie night, or when you can redo Elmwood Park, where it's a beautiful park with an interactive fountain and playground during the day, festivals on the weekend, and then incredible concerts at night, it brings people together. And then if you look at our neighborhoods, do people feel safe? Do they have sidewalks? Do we have strong neighborhood associations? Do the neighbors know the police department? And I think we've come a long way there too. So we build those social offerings. Number 2 is openness and welcoming. So the more open and welcoming a community is, the more people are going to love it. And if you think about Roanoke, especially for a southern city, I think we're way ahead many in terms of that. And it's part of our history, too, and how we were founded. But if you look at us, we are proud to have 105 nationalities. And that's important, not just for our own citizens, but when we're recruiting a firm, it doesn't even have to be Eldor, Italian firm, an international firm, but even U.S. national firms. Their employees want to feel comfortable, and they want to feel accepted and welcome. And the millennial generation is the most diverse generation in our history. So being open and welcoming, and it's absolutely something that Roanoke owns. I can say it's the most welcoming place I've ever been. And a lot of that, thank you. And and I give someone like Pearl Fu a lot of credit, who in the 1980s just started a movement. And that's the story of Roanoke. People see a challenge and they just jump in and make it happen. So kudos to Pearl. The third one, beauty. Now, we own beauty too. I mean, look at this picture. We live in a fairy tale place. We often take it for granted, but look at this beautiful picture. And we have a diversity of beauty. I like this picture because you see the historic city market building, and the historic architecture, the modern architecture, the vibrant downtown, and then right there are the mountains. There's no place on the East Coast that can compete with us on that. And then, let's see. And then can we work beauty into our design? It costs more money to do interactive fountains, to do lighting, to do landscaping like this. But to provide beauty into a community makes a huge difference both to our citizens and to people who come here. It says something about us that we value that. And then the outdoors. You know, the way we've connected people to the outdoors, so we need to continue to invest in greenways. And, I think I really applaud the VBR for their leadership on mountain biking, as we can become the mountain biking center for the East Coast, connecting people to the outdoors to that beauty. The fourth one is education. Here too, as we came in, there was a crisis in funding. The community stepped up. We did Eat for Education. Our schools have, really creative programs in music and arts and science. My son's a product of the Roanoke Public Schools, and my other son's in middle school, and he loves middle school. When does that ever happen? My gosh. So, education, I think we are a community that absolutely values that. And we show that in our libraries, because we want lifelong learning is important. And so as City Council has invested in libraries, and the main library, Raleigh Court's completed, Williamson Road will be opening soon, and then we'll move on to Melrose. And if you think about libraries, it's like the home run in investment, because it's a place for social offerings, it's very welcoming, and we try to make them beautiful. Let's see. And then higher education, another incredible strength that we have. And I could go through, if we had an hour, I could go through each of these institutions of higher education and the impact they've had on Roanoke and continue to have to the entire region in their research and their students and their investments. We are so fortunate to have this, and we should never take them for granted. And then the fifth one, in the report, it's basic services. But, that's boring. And so I don't want to show you pictures of like picking up trash. So I put in my own fifth one, which I think, when you think of the homogenization of America, I think this really is relevant to ongoing success. And that is authentic and quirky. And if you think about Roanoke and think about authentic and quirky, we have the Texas Tavern, where you can't get ketchup, open 24 hours. Where we have here, again, Pearl Fu, I would show this picture when I travel and say, this really captures Roanoke, a Chinese princess being escorted by Vikings. That's what we're all about here. We put slides in our libraries because we're fun. And we indoctrinate children really early. Every child born at Carillion leaves with a Roanoke baby book with all the Roanoke facts in it. We invest in public art. This is Ask the Fish. And we have some public art fans back there. That's great. And there's a new 8 sculptures going in to Elmwood Park right now. It's just fun that we can do with that. And then we put superheroes on our signs. Now, it's a good thing that these were not up my first day that I came to Roanoke, because if you remember that whole Gotham thing, I would have been really worried had I seen this. But it really is important. And then we celebrate crazy things like the Star, when Hollins took the lead with Starcropolis. Anyone who was there that night, it was a magical evening. And I think it'll happen again, not this year, but next year. And we've harnessed social media to tell our story. So Roanoke, and I'll talk more about the city of Roanoke because I know that, 180,000 followers on our social media platforms. We're a city of 100,000. And just yesterday, Governing did another article on us about how Roanoke has, one of the best citizen engagement programs in the country. And, you don't do that by giving links to the budget document on Twitter, although I would be interested in that. Most citizens would not. And so we've done it with fun ways, like announcing that the the star was going to go on a world tour, and then we showed it on the Eiffel Tower, and on the Great Wall of China and the Pyramids of Giza, and then the next year, this is all April Fools. People believed, you should see some of the remarks we had, where people commented on these about government waste. And then the next year, we announced that we were going to have cruises on the Roanoke River. And just last year, we announced that we were going to make a bid for the 2026 Olympics. And this is the Berglund Center transformed into the Ice Palace, and then we showed ski slopes down Mill Mountain and other things happening. Now, this year was kind of a fun one. We announced that we were really going high tech, and we were creating a command drone center within Mill Mountain, and we would be releasing our drones daily to pick up trash and recycling. And what's funny about this, we actually had someone come to the budget hearing and wanting to know who would be responsible if some of that trash slipped out of that when it was picked up. Would it be the citizen or the city? But anyway, having fun with that and be able to engage people really is critical. And I think it's something that is our core here too. And when you have 180,000 followers, you can then use those for economic development. And here are city employees with the hashtag The Shoots to Roanoke, which we won. And what's interesting, so this picture was picked up by the Bend, Oregon newspaper, published in the paper the week that the Shoots was deciding whether they wanted to come here or some hokey town in North Carolina. You may have heard about it. I don't know. So, you can harness that energy. And I really want to commend Visit Virginia's Blue Ridge for some of the creative things they've been doing in marketing and in getting the word out about us. I mean, it's just been phenomenal, and that's really, because they're telling our story. They're not just bringing visitors here. And probably one of the most creative things is early on, we didn't have money for advertising in Southern Living or anything, so they just invited travel writers here. Here's the most recent group of travel writers who came. I don't know if you noticed there, but on your left is Kevin Boggess, the city manager from Salem. I'm over on the right. Now, Kevin actually rode his Harley up the mountain here. He passed me in my Prius. So he was the cool guy on this trip. But to bring in travel writers and have them experience this incredible community. And then, they go back and they write articles. This is just a few from the first couple of trips. I mean, there have been hundreds since then. And there's a theme that goes through these articles. And it's this, that, there's this place called Roanoke. You may not have heard about it. It's in the Virginia's Blue Ridge. It's beautiful, but it's not only beautiful, but the people are so friendly and welcoming. And, you can hike during the day and then go to a great concert at night. And so people feel like they're discovering us, which is what people want now in travel. So kudos to Virginia's Blue Ridge for doing that. Really, we are not Gotham. I know that now. We all know that. We're a community that has an incredible, bright future ahead of us. But what we have to realize is that everything we do communicates. And so that brings me back to my first impression of Roanoke, which was the squatting geisha in the fetid river. And I made it my mission when I got here that we were going to have to change this. And it wasn't easy to do because I had checked, and the previous 3 city managers had each tried to change the city seal. But then it got controversial. Should you have the star in it? Should you have the tower? What should be in it or not? And fortunately, as we were going through this, and I'm trying to figure out how we can do something, our city clerk found in the basement the original hand-drawn city seal from the 1880s. And that takes the controversy. Let's just go back to what we were when we founded. And so City Council adopted the new old seal, which, and if you think about it, I think it's still relevant for today. Here, the goddess of justice is standing tall, not squatting. She's in a green field. It's not, with the backdrop of the Blue Ridge Mountains. It's not a freight train, but it's a passenger train. Because Roanoke, when it was founded, people came from, fleeing Europe. We had former slaves who wanted a new start. We had people, who wanted a new start from the East Coast coming here. So the train is traveling west. And so we are a land of opportunity. We really are, and we shouldn't forget that. So, and we still are, and I think we're creating that opportunity here in this community. And I want to end with one last thought, and it's related to the Politico article that came out in September, which we're all so proud of. There's a little background on that. So Colin Woodard, who wrote that article, it was part of a series. Every month they featured a city that had transformed itself. It was called the What Works series. Colin contacted me and he said, give me 2 or 3 names of people I should talk to understand Roanoke. And I said, I can't do that. There are so many people who are engaged in this. I'd probably send him 50 names and contacts. Well, he came in. I met with him when we first got here. We met at the library. I always start my economic development tour there, and we walked through. And then he went and met with people. I checked in with him a couple days later because I was really interested, what's he finding? And do I need to do any damage control? And he said, Chris, I'll tell you, the other cities I went to, I knew within an hour what the secret ingredient was. I knew what it was in Manchester, New Hampshire. I knew what it was in Denver. I knew what it was in Des Moines. He said, but I cannot figure out what it is in Roanoke. He said, I got to do some more work on this. We called more people, did some more research, and he put it this way. He asked at the very beginning of the article, how did a small city in a disadvantaged region, 4 hours from a major metropolis, one that had seen its signature industries atrophy or depart, that lacked so much as a branch campus, the state university, transform itself? That's what he asked himself. And this was his answer. The answer is lessons for small, out-of-the-way cities everywhere. Roanoke's people did it largely by themselves, in small steps and with an eye to assets and alliances in the wider region around them. This is our special sauce, and this we can't forget. And so my message to you tonight is we have to keep doing these. We have to keep making these investments. And I'll tell you, not that I'm city manager anymore, I can be more honest with you, I have seen often in communities when things are going good and you're just starting to get that momentum, that those folks who care the most and who have been most involved get complacent, and they don't show up and they don't stay involved. And what happens is those people who are going to say, Roanoke was better in the 50s or the 60s or the 70s or the 80s, and why are we changing? They're going to show up. In my profession, we call them the cave people, citizens against virtually everything. My message to you is do not get complacent. Continue to support Virginia's Blue Ridge, the efforts of the area governments here who are investing in this community, we can have progress and change and still, care about our history and be authentic. We can do both, and we figured out how to do that. So, this is Roanoke's time, and I hope that we'll all together work to make people love this community, because you gotta love where you live. Thank you.
We picked the right speaker, didn't we? Thank you. And don't go far. You're going to be back up here a couple more times tonight. Okay, let me get back to where I'm supposed to be. Awards, our tourism awards. Our first award is the Patrick A. McMahon Tourism Ambassador Award. It's presented annually to an individual or individuals for their outstanding efforts, dedication, and support towards the promotion of the region and its many tourism attributes. It is my pleasure to announce Leonard Wheeler with Wheeler Broadcasting, operating broadcast radio stations in Roanoke, Lynchburg, including K92, Q99, WFIR News Radio, Star Country, and The Vibe. Leonard initiated Virginia's Blue Ridge organic mentions on the air and posted content online. This was a big step in extending Virginia's Blue Ridge brand name recognition. We thank all of our media partners for their organic mentions, including WDBJ7, WSLS10, and WFXR. But would Leonard Wheeler please come up here, and y'all help me congratulate Leonard for his outstanding support and promotion of Virginia's Blue Ridge. congratulations.
All right.
And thank you so much.
All right.
All right, let me get- Okay. We're going to get a formal picture afterwards. I'll tell everybody. Thank you. Our next award is the Golden Star Award, presented to an individual or organization in recognition for outstanding service and commitment to facilitating economic growth in the tourism industry. These are long descriptions of these awards, aren't they? Visit Virginia's Blue Ridge would like to recognize Roanoke County for being the first to adopt Virginia's Blue Ridge brand and then placing it on the new water tower at the heavily traveled intersection of I-81 and 581. We thank the leadership of Roanoke County for their support, especially former Chairman Jason Peters, who couldn't be with us tonight, but who led the charge on our branding. I'd like to ask Dan O'Donnell and Doug Blunt, who is Director of Parks and Rec for the county, to come up here and accept this award. And we'd also like to give a thank you to the Western Virginia Water Authority for their partnership in what we think is a great advertisement for this region. Thank you. Come in here.
Doug, he does everything.
Thank you. Thank y'all. The final award to be presented this evening is Past Chair's Tourism Excellence Award. This is presented by the Bureau's past chairs as recognition of an individual who exemplifies leadership, service, and commitment to the tourism industry in the Roanoke Valley, and even in the Commonwealth of Virginia. It is a recognition of an individual's lifetime achievements in developing and promoting our great industry. 7 years is all it took for Chris Morrill to steer us in the direction of regionalism and positive momentum. He recognized the importance of tourism and its significant economic impact. We want you to say thank you and recognize Chris Morrill as this year's recipient of the Past Chair's Tourism Excellence Award. There you go. I would like to ask all the award winners tonight if right after we adjourn, if you all would gather over here in the back right where we have a screen, and we'll take official good pictures of you and your award. We'll take a minute here. We'll ask Russ Ellett, representing the Roanoke Business Council, to come forward and make a special presentation with us. And Joyce Watt.
Thank you, Lee. Good evening, members of the Visit Virginia Blue Ridge Board of Directors, staff, and guests. I'm Russ Ellett, Chairman of the Business Council of the Roanoke-Blacksburg region, a forum created in 1989 by leaders of the major private sector employers of the community for the examination and discussion of issues of interest to business. Tonight, it is my distinct pleasure to recognize Chris Morrill with a resolution of appreciation from the Business Council. I would like to highlight that Chris provided exceptional leadership as Roanoke City Manager during his 7-year tenure, and under his watch, Roanoke has been at the forefront of regional cooperation and many economic successes, including an innovation district, growth and expansion of the Virginia Tech Carilion School of Medicine and Research Institute, and decisions by companies like Oregon-based Deschutes Brewery to locate their facilities here, and that the entire region has benefited from Chris's belief that a locality cannot cut its way to prosperity. For your service to the city of Roanoke and the citizens of the Roanoke Valley, the Business Council of the Roanoke-Blacksburg region commends you and wishes you well in your new position, that of helping local governments strengthen their financial situations. Thank you, Chris. Congratulations, Chris. We're going to miss you.
At this time, I'd like to look ahead and share with you what we're doing to draw more visitors to the region. The choices we make impact residents and tourists as well as the region's quality of life. We're working to build a better place for people to live and a better place for people to visit. Tourism is big business in many parts, and as the region's official destination marketing organization, we package new and existing tourism products to attract visitors. But behind the scenes, we're developing new opportunities to sustain tourism for the years to come. And we've grabbed hold of kind of a new slogan for us here, that we're the region of bikes, beer, and brains. And if you're wondering why, I'm going to tell you. First, let's do the bikes. We're being touted as the mountain bike capital of the East, and we're currently working towards establishing Virginia's Blue Ridge as a designated ride center by the International Mountain Biking Association. This designated ride center would include Carbons Cove, Mill Mountain, Explore Park, and other trails in our region. Research from existing ride centers has shown significant increased financial impact on a destination. As for the beer, we now have a significant number of craft breweries, as you can see on our two boards over here in the region, and the number is increasing all the time, with Ballast Point opening this summer out in Botetourt, Star Hill this fall, and Deschutes in 2021. The region is exploding with craft beer destinations, and I'd like to introduce one of our newest residents to our region, Mike Alvarado, the general manager. He told me tasting rooms and kitchens, so that sounds like a good place to be the general manager for Ballast Point. And we're doing some work at Ballast Point, and I can tell you they're working madly to get that open here by the first of the summer, and it's going to be fabulous. It's going to have a restaurant for 300 people in it, if you didn't know. As for the brains, the medical field is growing at a fast pace at the Virginia Tech Korean School of Medicine and Research Institute. They are known worldwide for their incredible brain research, and in just a few short years, Virginia Tech will formally extend their campus for our graduate and undergraduate students to Roanoke. We envision a significant increase in medical meetings, especially with an emphasis on neuroscience conferences. We predict much more positive news to be coming from this exciting area of our regional economy. And we go back to what Politico said. We were trains and now we're brains. We're also busy supporting a number of other initiatives in addition to the beer, bikes, and brains. Arts and culture, extremely important to our region. An exciting announcement will be made soon about a collaborative arts and culture venture benefiting both residents and visitors. We met recently to brainstorm, and you will see significance when this comes about that term, about establishing an arts and cultural season. Della Watkins and Susan Jennings are leading the charge for Virginia's Blue Ridge. Stay tuned for more details. Hey, Della. Amtrak passenger rail service will return later this year, extending the Northeast Regional Route. Our goal is to attract visitors not just from the Northeast, but international visitors to Virginia's Blue Ridge for a Metro Mountain vacation getaway. Explore Park, a new and improved destination attraction. Roanoke County Parks, Recreation, and Tourism is implementing steps to build the infrastructure at Explore Park necessary to attract outdoor-related businesses. Our region has become known for its beautiful natural scenery and abundant outdoor amenities. And with our brand identity as Virginia's Blue Ridge, Explore Park will provide a much-needed destination attraction for visitors, especially traveling along the Blue Ridge Parkway. Go, Doug. We're waiting on it. The Roanoke Valley Greenways are getting connected. This is an excellent attraction that continues to grow in popularity for residents, visitors, and prospective businesses. Our Blueways. Paddling the region is also gaining in popularity as a destination for water activity. The Roanoke River Blueway and the Upper James River Water Trail are both great assets to promote in the warmer months. It all starts with a visit. That was our theme with our 2030 Destination Vision Plan. And from that plan, we're working on the following initiatives. Regional wayfinding. Every session of our vision plan mentioned the need for better signage for Virginia's Blue Ridge. This initiative is underway with Downtown Roanoke, Inc., the Foundation for Downtown Roanoke, and the VVR governmental partners. Branding the region's wayfinding signage will provide the visitor a better way to navigate our area. Visit Virginia's Blue Ridge heard time and time again the need for a consolidated calendar of events for planning purposes. This calendar is now reality, combining sporting events, major meetings, and annual events. It identifies specific dates to fill and those to avoid due to hotel room demand. Our team is working to get the word out about this resource, and we have committed a staff effort for this, and we're determined to make this the first community calendar that's worked, and it is going to work. Virginia's Blue Ridge has experienced incredible growth in sports of all kinds. Salem, Virginia's City of Champions, has built a positive reputation for hosting a variety of sporting events, and the entire region has benefited economically. Visit VVR has long had a sports committee working together to bring groups to VVR. To take this positive momentum to the next level, the Visit VVR Executive Committee recently formed Virginia's Blue Ridge Sports. We will have much more to talk about this as we take sports marketing to the next level. Another initiative that we have put in place to facilitate initiatives associated with the 2030 Destination Vision Plan, a foundation has been formed. This will provide the resources necessary to convert these initiatives into reality. For example, the Visit Virginia's Blue Ridge Foundation is assisting with the purchasing and installation of a restroom at the Bennett Springs side of Carvin's Cove and bike fix-it stations at various trailheads. Charitable donations will allow us to work towards meeting the requirements for a designated Ember Ride Center, as well as other initiatives in the future. And in order to make all of this work seamlessly, we need to have a great customer service. Visit Virginia's Blue Ridge initiated a partnership with Virginia Western Community College and will be rolling out 3 hospitality training workshops in May and June. With increased demand, our next step would be to offer a 2-year degree in hospitality and tourism. You gotta love where you live. Virginia's Blue Ridge is a great place to live, work, and visit. How can you be a part of the movement? Find ways to use Virginia's Blue Ridge brand. Invite family and friends to Virginia's Blue Ridge. Consider bringing a conference or a meeting to VBR. Invite our team to come to your local organization and give a presentation. Display a VBR sticker. We've got those if you need them. And become an ambassador for the region. We go back to what Chris said. The communities that excel are the ones where the citizens are excited about it. Are you using the brand? As we conclude tonight's annual meeting, I'd like to ask Chris Morrill to join me again on the stage. You didn't think you were going to get off that easy tonight, did you? Come on up here. On behalf of Visit Virginia's Blue Ridge Board and staff, we thank you for your leadership and vision for the city of Roanoke and the region. And the last time I was in Chicago, I didn't see any mountains. And try as hard as we couldn't figure out how to send one back with you. So we want to thank you for sharing your wisdom and being one of our biggest cheerleaders, and we would like to give you this framed picture of McAfee Knob. And we hope this will remind you to come home time and time again to enjoy our beautiful part of the world. And thank you again for all you've done for us, and best of luck to you in your new role. Thank you.
That's fantastic.
That's great.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, man. To close out our program this evening, I would like to thank our sponsors one more time. They're listed on the screens over here. Let's give them a round of applause for their support in this event and for their partnership with us. Also, special thanks to several that have partnered with us to make this event complete. The Hotel Roanoke and Conference Center, Roanoke Valley Television, who is taping this, so y'all have plenty of time to see it all again. Photography by Don Peterson and Andy Cott, our musician. And we will conclude our 32nd annual meeting by giving away a small token of why you've got to love where you live. You should have a little heart, place card holder, and a sticker at your table. These are for you all to take home with you. Everybody be sure to take one. And if you need more stickers, just let us know. I want to thank everyone for being here with us tonight. Have a safe trip home, and thank you all for coming.